Hey guys, thanks for watching Mad for Swoo. Today we're going over 3 cards you likely pulled in your Twilight packs and some ideas of what to do with them. This video is kind of something different than the classic tier lists and things like that you're going to be seeing out there. I think it's a little bit easier to digest. I know for me, when I look at 15 plus new leaders that I can build around and the relevant combos, I get a little bit like, where do I start? So for this video, here's some cards you probably have in front of you and some ideas of what to build around them. Not promising they're good, but I think some of them are half decent. First one is Strategic Acumen. So it's a upgrade that you put on someone, costs 1. You can exhaust that unit to play something from your hand for 1 less. Obviously, we want to put this on things with bigger booties that are going to survive, and also things that we don't actually want to attack because they're just going to sit there and do this action for us. Some options for that: Republic Tactical Officer, R2-D2, Qi'ra. Republic Tactical Officer I really like. It's basically like a smaller fleet lieutenant. Has a when played, you're attacking with somebody else. And then after that, he's kind of just sitting there, right? But he's at 2 costs with a 4 booty. You put a Strategic Acumen on him. Suddenly he's got a 6 booty and he's bringing in your other units for cheaper. He has another purpose moving forward. R2-D2, same sort of thing. You're playing it, searching the top 3 cards, and kind of scrying through your deck that way. After he's been played, 4 booty for 2, and he's just kind of there. You don't necessarily want to attack for 2. Let's put a Strategic Acumen on him, make him do something else. Qi'ra is another option too, where yeah, she can attack, but once you put that Strategic Acumen on her, now your opponent's thinking, she attacks for 3, so I don't want to leave her, but also now she has a 7 booty and can bring out people for cheaper later in the game. And then what will we pair that with? Like Strategic Acumen, we are bringing out for cheaper, so we're ramping. What if we just went full ramp? So on the heroic side of things, what if we go with Old Han? So we're at 3 resources the first turn of the game. We have the Tech DJ combo, of course, and then some other cards we can put with them. Resupply, Spark of Hope, Price on Your Head. Suddenly we're ramping significantly with units that are upgraded who also are essentially ramping because we're playing cards for cheaper. And then let's throw some hand destruction in there too. Spark of Rebellion, Unmasking the Conspiracy is a new card you probably have, where we're deleting those things out of their hand that can get rid of our Strategic Acumen unit. And suddenly it's sticking around longer. What if we do a little General's Blade in there? We could have an Ahsoka if you were lucky enough to pull one. Aayla secura if you were lucky enough to pull her. With things sticking around long enough, maybe Coordinate's working. Things like that might work. What about a Plo Koon? Ambush and Coordinate are big booties earlier in the game that are playing things for cheaper, are more likely to keep Plo online. And not only that, we're getting some Force synergies. We're getting some Jedi with the General's Blade, and we're getting those bigger legendaries, Aayla, Plo, etc. out sooner because we've ramped so much, and we're using Old Han. Maybe this is happening 3rd turn of the game. Pretty powerful stuff, in my opinion. That's my first, deck idea that it totally is built around Strategic Acumen. Let me know what you're thinking with that. I tried to kind of make a villainy version of Strategic Acumen making sense. I couldn't really make that happen off the top of my head with this set, but we'll move on to another card right now that you probably pulled. I'm really excited about this card, Twice the Pride. We're going to do something a little bit different with this one. I'm going to show you a hero option for Twice the Pride, and I'm going to show you a villain option, slightly different, all built around this one card you just pulled, Twice the Pride. So what does Twice the Pride do? Costs 2. It's a double red. Right away, we're probably going double red. Most of what I'm going to show you is our double red decks. It's dealing 2 damage to a unit, but it's giving them +4 attack. So we're going pure aggro with these 2 decks. First thing I'm thinking, cheap units with booties big enough to survive. Soldier of the 501st. It's a raid 2, Twice the Pride. Now it's hitting for 6. Yeah, it has 1 health, but for a 1 cost, even if they delete it, you actually only sunk 2 resources into it and 2 cards, and they have to delete it. You're hitting for 6. Bold Recon Commando is suddenly a 7-2. Heroic Renegade's a funny one. You're knocking it down to 1 booty when you apply Twice the Pride, but you're up to 6, and then with Grit with the 2 damage, he's hitting for 8. He's an 8-1 that cost you 2 resources and a 2 upgrade. The nice thing about these little units is if they delete your units, which they're obviously going to have to do, you can wait to apply twice the pride to whoever's left of your 2 units that you had out. I like it a little bit over Darksaber, where I think Justin from KTOD was saying like Darksaber is the riskiest card in the Sabine Green deck. I found the exact same thing when I was playing Sabine Green. If you pay 4 for your entire turn to apply a Darksaber and they just Fang Fighter you or they confiscate it, it's your whole turn. With twice the pride, if they get rid of it or the unit, you only paid 2 resources for it. Like you could have another one in your hand and just apply it to the other unit. So what leader are we thinking with this? On the heroic side, obviously Anakin. 6 deploy, but he's coming out and hitting their base for like 7, 8, 9, depending on how much you have on your base. And if you're going to upgrade him and things like that. So then if we're thinking Anakin, what else could we think? What about a new card, Bold Resistance? Choose 3 units of the same trait. They're all hitting for +2 this phase. So you'll notice some of the units I'm suggesting are Republic units. Trooper units, things like that, where that bold resistance and your twice the prides coming together, the game's over really quickly. What about a heroic resolve for another upgrade? Yeah, it gives them 1, but then you're overwhelming for 4 at any given point. It's those small upgrades, twice the pride, heroic resolve, I like over the big lightsabers and things like that in these decks. What about heroic sacrifice? Obviously, get to draw a card, hit for 2. Precision fire, if you do end up running those troopers, 1 cost, it's getting a +2 and saboteur. And with Anakin's power, like keep that in mind. Any of these units we're talking about, if you can do 2 damage to your base, you're hitting for 2 more. You're adding 2 more onto everything I just said. Like some of these heroic renegade, like what are they hitting for 10+ now from a 2-drop? With that, when you bring in that twice the pride card, you can see it's just pure aggro. Then we obviously would throw in the basic Anakin sort of pumps, Anakin's interceptor. We got Steela, we got Saw, the gererras, put them in there. And then I like that keep fighting card too. Like just whoever they aren't able to kill, ready unit with 3 or less power. A lot of the units I named earlier are 3 or less power. With that twice the pride card, you can ready the ones who you haven't pumped, and just ping that last extra damage. Obviously, we'd probably go with Tarkintown on this, wouldn't we? We're not making it to a late game, so 30 points, we don't care. We'd rather take that damage. I'm not meaning this to be a build an entire deck for you. I'm just going to be throwing out cards that you could build around, fill in as necessary. Try the Rebel synergy with Anakin. Why not? Let's check out a villainy version of what we've just talked about with Twice the Pride. How about a Twice the Pride Kylo? So right away, who are we applying Twice the Pride to in a villainy Kylo deck? What about Maul, like the legendary unit, if you were lucky enough to pull him? Imagine making Maul a 9/4 who can hit 2 units. That's kind of like your end game card in Kylo, because you're going even quicker than Anakin. What about a Death Watch Loyalist? Like it's someone with grit. So we're hitting them for 2. It's giving them 5 attack. Then the Twice the Pride's giving him 9 attack. Then Kylo discarding a card from his hand and swinging with a unit is hitting for 11 for a 3-drop and overwhelm. It's very similar to that heroic renegade we spoke of earlier. It's has no defense at all, but you only need to get 1 attack off with it, and you can it's so cheap, you can time it with what your opponent's been doing. Fifth Brother, obviously a first set card. If you were around for first set, toss that in there. He's getting raid 1 for the damage on him. But Twice the Pride's doing 2 damage, so he's a 4 from the raid, and then he's an 8 from the Twice the Pride, and then with a Kylo power to discard a card, he's a 10. All this, we could center around the new Brain Invaders card too. Every leader's losing their ability, which means Kylo is coming out at 4, and his card discard in his hands, maybe you weren't able to get rid of your cards quick enough, doesn't matter. His power is moot. So he's hitting as a 5/4 with 4 resources. Let's keep fighting again. Let's throw in a ruthlessness. Let's throw in a fallen lightsaber. Things to boost up your guys who are surviving. You're getting more force in the Kylo deck with the Fifth Brother, the Maul, the Kylo. So we could do a force choke as well. Kylo's tie, obviously, if you're lucky enough to pull that. Perfect Kylo card. each of these decks that we're talking about has these sort of baseline cards that are going to go with the deck, apart from what our current card strategy is with Twice the Pride. In this deck, one of them is Mr. Bones. He's going in a double red Kylo every time. So you can plan to play with it, right? Oh, Mr. Bones is perfect for when I got rid of the cards in my hand. If I wasn't able to get rid of the cards in my hand, then why don't we just do Brain Invaders? Because Kylo's card loss power doesn't matter anymore. So you can kind of, it's kind of like a mid-range idea, but it's still so aggro. You can at least react to a few things now. It's not canceled out immediately by your opponent knowing to delete your units. Obviously Tarkintown again with Kylo. Let's do one more card. This one's a rare, so you may or may not have pulled it. And this is kind of like a for fun idea that I really just want to throw out there as to make a point that you can try really weird, janky stuff with built around certain cards that may or may not work, but this is maybe one we haven't talked about yet. What about I Have the High Ground is the card I'm thinking. It's a rare from the Twilight set. Choose a friendly unit. Each enemy unit gets a -4 while attacking that unit this phase. It only costs 1. So what units can we think of where we want them to stay out as long as possible? Probably not someone with a when played, probably not someone with a when defeated. Grit, we want them to get hit. We don't want to reduce the damage coming in. So obviously my brain right away went to someone like Qi'ra, the leader from set 1. What if we just, it's kind of like a new Voltron sort of strategy where it's not about upgrades. What if we built a blue deck around limiting the damage coming in, where upgrade removal doesn't just immediately kill the deck? So if we're doing that, what if we went double blue Chirrut with the Pow City base? Every leader gets +1 booty. So now Chirrut's coming out at 5 resources as a 3/6 instead of a 3/5, which means there's no takedown anymore, which was the instant kill for Chirrut. So they kind of have to rely on doing damage, but how are they doing damage when I have the high grounding, -4 attack to every attack that comes in on Chirrut, who has a 6 booty? Right around that idea, I start thinking about what about like a clone commander Chirrut, or he's bringing in Republic commando. He's bringing in the 41st Elite Corps, someone like the Knight of the Republic as like a finisher, where every time he's attacked, he's creating a clone trooper unit. But what if we have the Eye of the High Ground card and we put it on him? Well, now suddenly, what do they have to rivals fall him basically? Because they can't attack him for any damage that'll kill him. And if they do, he's making clones for you. It's like a Chirrut leading the clones deck. There's that For the Republic card is a new card. It's a rare. You have 3 more Republic units. Play it for 2 less, +2/+2, gains coordinate, restore 2. Imagine putting that on Chirrut in this scenario. He's getting another +2/+2, so he's at least an 8 booty, where the Eye of the High Ground card, they're not hitting him for anything, and Chirrut's restoring the entire time that's on him. Coordinate seems to work a little bit better in this scenario, as you can see, because these cards, like I have the high ground, you're reducing the damage coming in, your units are living, and suddenly Coordinate's more reasonable. Throw in a Guardian of the Way card, give someone Sentinel, and +2/+2 if you have the initiative. A Village Protectors with a shield, with an Eye of the High Ground card. How they need removal, like how are they getting rid of a shielded Sentinel when you're -4 attacking, all the damage going to it? Obviously Jedi lightsaber, we throw in Chirrut. Hello there. Someone that came in this turn, -4/-4, boop, gone. When they do finally play a threat that could actually damage your unit. You could even toss in the Finn, double blue Finn card. When he completes an attack, choose a unique unit, prevent 1 of that damage. All these cards, the idea you're getting is we're reducing the damage coming in. Padawan Starfighter goes in because now we're using Force cards. It's a 2/4 now. Daughter of Dathomir, when she doesn't have damage on her, she's a Restore 2, 3/5. But they have to try and damage someone. It's just they're not going to be able to when we're centering this deck around I have the high ground. Again, not saying that's going to work, but it's something to think about the idea of, rather than looking at these top 10 cards or these top legendaries that I feel like I need, there's certain cards you can pick and say, okay, what can I build around this card? And I feel like that makes the thought process a little bit easier to digest instead of just being overwhelmed by hundreds and hundreds of cards that we have in the pool now. And especially with Boba, I feel being gone, I feel like some of these ideas are a little bit more doable now that we don't have to worry about him. Anyway, that's some deck ideas to throw out there based on some cards you guys likely just recently pulled. Please like and subscribe, share the video. And thanks for watching Mad for Spoon. We'll see you next time.